I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a recap of the traveling cosplay fascist circus that is a Trump rally. And this one is the rally that just took place on Saturday in Minden, Nevada. We will take you through what happened at the pre-show, what happened during the rally itself, and the reason that we cover this here on the MeidasTouch Network for those watching this recap for the first time is we need to call it out. We need to condemn it. As difficult, frankly, as it was for me to watch this rally and as difficult it is for me to make this video, we cannot blind our eyes to what is taking place because these midterms and in general from here on out until MAGA extremism ends in this country, we are dealing with one political party that takes democracy seriously, and that is the Democratic Party. The other party, the MAGA Republican extremists, who have co-opted and taken over fully the Republican Party, no longer believe in democracy. They believe in this weird cosplay fascism. Frankly, they want it to be full-fledged fascism in support, in furtherance of their cult leader, who they refer to as their Orange Jesus. I know, it's ridiculous. Their MAGA Republican leader, cult leader, Donald Trump. We cannot blind our eyes to what is taking place, and you need to share this video so that family members and friends and community members know what's at stake. Because I promise you, the true silent majority in this country is not a group of people who looks at that rally and say, that is what America is all about. And it's important that we show people what the stakes are. So let's talk about this rally. Minden, Nevada. It's in Douglas County. Population of Douglas County is approximately 48,000. Douglas County traditionally almost always has voted Republican by significant margins of approximately 65% of the population is registered as a Republican in this smaller county of 48,000 individuals. The crowd size here, very, very small rally in Minden, Nevada. We're talking about, I don't know, maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000, judging by the crowd size there, possibly less. You know, we've been talking about the small crowd size at these rallies. We talked about the recap in Youngstown. We've talked about the recap in Wilkes-Barre. We've done the one in Wilmington and so on and so forth. These rallies are very, very, very small. They try to kind of stagecraft it in a way where they kind of cluster people together to make it look bigger. But overall, pretty small rally sizes here. So first, let's talk about the what took place before the rally. Here we talk about the MAGA extremist followers who show up. There's always these MAGA extremist right-wing networks who interview these individuals. I like to say these people vote. This is what we're dealing with, why it's important that you vote. Because these people who you're about to hear and see, they vote. And so these radical extremist networks that follow Trump around, always one of the interesting things is, as though I'm not sure she's on any of these videos, but Christina Bobb, Donald Trump's lawyer who claims she's not his lawyer anymore, who signed the declaration to the Department of Justice stating that all documents were turned back over from Mar-a-Lago on June 3rd when she had that interaction with the head counterintelligence official. Well, she is one of the broadcasters for these radical extremist networks. But anyway, here is some of the interviews that took place. First, you have someone who goes to the rally and she says, Vladimir Putin is a great leader, on her own, unprovoked. Vladimir Putin is a great leader because he is cleaning out the U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. So she thinks that, like Trump, Putin is a great leader because that he is exterminating biolabs in Ukraine that U.S. put there. Here, play this clip.
With the Russia and the Ukraine conflict, what's your...
My opinion, I grew up in 40 years, under the Russian thing. And I love Putin. I love Putin. Putin is making the right, What the American people is built over there, he wants to clean them out,
He wants to get rid of Americans? Clean them out?
Clean them out, all the biochemical place, everything, and the nuclear thing. Yeah.
We'll have to talk more about this because
He's a good president, Number 2 after President 1. Number 2. I love him.
I mean, this goes and speaks to the QAnon conspiracy theories that spread amongst these MAGA followers. Remember, we're going to show you this at the end of this video. At the end of these rallies, they always conclude with Trump playing the QAnon theme song. There's a specific song that correlates to the QAnon messaging of where we go one, we go all. And there's a soundtrack to that. And Trump plays that music at the end of these rallies where he denigrates the country and talks about how horrible the United States of America is. And so he really leans into these QAnon beliefs. But these are mainstream MAGA Republican views, hoisting up Putin as a great leader, despite the fact that he's a horrible leader. He's an authoritarian. He's losing, and attacking our support of our traditional allies and our support of Ukraine. Now, here's a clip of the cosplay Uncle Sam, who sings the Mar-a-Lago anthem. So they call it the Mar-a-Lago anthem, these MAGA extremists, regarding how Donald Trump should keep the stolen classified records at Mar-a-Lago. You can't make this stuff up. Here, play this clip of the Mar-a-Lago anthem that the MAGA extremist followers sing.
They made Mar-a-Lago in the hot sun. Trump lost the lava, we know Trump won. Trump lost the lava, we know Trump won. They needed evidence, but they got none. Trump lost the lava, we know Trump won. Trump lost the lava, we know Trump won. They kissed our leader and it feels so bad, but the best is yet to come. He's the best president we ever had. Trump lost the lava, we know Trump won.
And then here's an interview with one of the MAGA followers who's so far down the cult MAGA rabbit hole. And I'm sure you know someone who's like this, that no matter what you say, no matter what you talk to them about, you try, but they're so far lost. Here's a woman who says what a kind gentleman Donald Trump is. And just look at his kids. They don't drink. They don't smoke. It's the perfect family. Play this clip.
I love him, and I think he's the kindest, gentlest man. He listens. He's not a bully like they tried it, and he's mean, but he's absolutely, just look at his children. They don't smoke. They don't drink. President Trump, he did something right, and
You wonder how someone gets so lost, but they get so lost, too, one, because of the disinformation that's out there from the radical extremist networks. And there has been before, frankly, before networks like ours and others, there's been no pushback to that. It's just been allowed to fester and grow and be unchecked, not be addressed. And that's one of the sad consequences of it. Okay, so now you have the pre-show speakers. One of the first speakers was Michelle Fiori. She's a MAGA extremist, and she's a member of the Las Vegas City Council. And one of the things that they just realized and what they do now is just blatant lies. So she says, with Trump, we had a little over 3% unemployment, but under Biden and Obama, unemployment was and is now at 10%. One thing to state, just looked at the unemployment rate of Minden, where Trump was speaking in Nevada, and unemployment there right now under Biden is approximately 2.2%, essentially the lowest ever under the Biden administration. But one of the tactics of MAGA extremism is repeat the same lie over and over and over again, and people will believe the big lie. Play this clip of MAGA extremist Michelle Fiori.
Under President Trump, we had a little over 3% unemployment. Do you know the last time that happened? It was 1969. Under Biden and Obama, we're at 10%, right? And even more now. That's right. When we look at what, I can't repeat that on the microphone. I got the fake media here. What the hell is wrong with you? All right? All right. That's right. That's right. We'll see what they report about today. But we know.
Next up was Jim Marchant, who is the election-denying Republican nominee, MAGA extremist nominee for Secretary of State of Nevada. And what Jim Marchant says and what he's running on, just like the MAGA extremist candidates for Secretary of State, Nevada, Arizona, and elsewhere, is if you elect us, we will not let a free and fair election take place. Elect us, and we will hoist up Donald Trump as our dictator and our emperor. This is the view. And by the way, Jim Marchant, as of now, is slightly leading in the polls of the Nevada Secretary of State race, and he believes that his job as Secretary of State is to deny the results of the election and hoist up Donald Trump as the winner and throw out the votes of the people. Period. Full stop. That's what he believes. Play this clip of the despicable and disgusting Jim Marchant. Sorry, I just get, as I start getting worked up with these videos, I get more and more angry. But play the clip of Jim Marchant. Play it.
Secondly, last year, I established a MAGA, America First coalition of Secretary of State candidates around the country. And I'm speaking mainly now for the people that are watching live stream and on TV. We're going to elect Mark Fincham in Arizona and Kari Lake in Arizona. They are MAGA. We're going to elect Christina Caramo in Michigan. She's one of our coalition members. Audrey Trujillo in New Mexico, Chuck Gray in Wyoming, Diego Morales in Indiana. If we get Kayla Campbell in Massachusetts, believe it or not, if we get all of our secretaries of state elected around the country like this, we take our country back. Now, we're making history right here.
Yeah, so that's the individual there who is actually leading in the race to become Secretary of State of Nevada. Because the way the media will report about it too is, oh, here's a Republican candidate who has very conservative, far conservative views. There's nothing conservative about anything that he just said right there. That's not a conservative ideology to overthrow free and fair elections, period. Stop calling that BS conservative. And then you have Senator Tommy Tuberville, the MAGA extremist senator, current senator from Alabama. He beat Doug Jones, who was a incredible prosecutor, pro-democracy supporter a few years back. It was a very close race. But Senator Tommy Tuberville, he was the one also who Giuliani called about keep objecting to the electors. We got a plan. This is one of the first things he says. He goes, referring to, I suppose, Democrats, or he goes, they want reparations because they believe the people who do crime deserve that. How much more racist can you be? It's not even a dog whistle. I mean, it's just an overtly racist statement right there. The people who could potentially get reparations are criminals, and that Democrats are trying to protect the criminal. Come on, play this clip.
Some people say, well, they're soft on crime. No, they're not soft on crime. They're pro-crime. They want crime. They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bullshit. They are not owed that.
And as I said, that's not a dog whistle, what you just heard. Those are just overt racist statements to a crowd cheering on, thankfully a small crowd, just cheering on racism, right? The KKK hoods are off and they're just out there outwardly saying those things. It's despicable. And here's Senator Tuberville talking about God, that there is no climate change and that God, it's all about God and climate and that we shouldn't take steps to address climate. Here, play this clip.
And our food. We all love this country. We all love the world. God changes the climate. God changes the climate. If they wanted to get off of this climate change junket that they're on, they could do it, but they don't want to do it.
All right, so after those speakers, Trump takes the stage, and increasingly at these rallies, these traveling fascist cosplay circuses, his focus is all about the search warrant executed at Mar-a-Lago and his criminal liability. Like, the pretextual reason why he's supposed to be there is to talk about the MAGA extremist candidates who have to talk about how much they worship him at these rallies and what a great human being he is and how he's the smartest human being ever and pledge allegiance to him like he's Kim Jong-un. Like, that's what you have to do to be a Republican now. But he's always there really just to talk about himself and just whine and complain like a little baby, frankly, and no offense to babies who are far more mature than this orange monstrosity of a human being. But here he talks about, starts off right away saying how George H.W. Bush concealed classified records in a bowling alley / Chinese restaurant, and that therefore classified records were kept in a bowling alley, a Chinese restaurant / bowling alley, and that people should look into George H.W. Bush for doing that. Just the total made-up, bizarre conspiracy. Play this clip.
George H.W. Bush took millions of documents to a former bowling alley and a former Chinese restaurant where they combined them, so they're in a bowling alley / Chinese restaurant.
You know, on the one hand, you think to yourself, like, how is this real? But this is the United States of America right now in the vision of MAGA Republicans, where Donald Trump stole our top secret, sensitive, compartmented information, stole our nuclear secrets, likely to be transactional about it. We know reports as well that he wanted to get Russian documents, and that's how he wanted to. One of the things he wanted to do was trade classified records he stole to get certain documents that he thinks that he deserved, which do not belong to him. And so he goes and does a speech where he talks about a president who was president from 88 to 1992, who he claims hid classified records in a Chinese restaurant / bowling alley. Are you kidding me? And then he goes on and talks about how he believes Clinton kept classified record in a sock drawer in his socks. Here, play this clip.
They're still looking for those pages. Bill Clinton took millions of documents from the White House to a former car dealership in Arkansas. We love Arkansas, I can tell you. We won Arkansas both times also. And kept classified recordings in his sock drawer. In fact, he supposedly put the information from the White House into his socks and left the White House with the information. So we call it the sock case. If I did that, there'd be major trouble.
Then he asks his audience, he goes, when will they prosecute Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George W. Bush? They need to look into George H.W. Bush, and when will they prosecute Obama? All about prosecuting now essentially every living president other than George H.W. Bush, who's no longer alive, and he didn't mention Jimmy Carter. But let's play this clip of Trump.
I believe that. What do you think? Yes? Yes, Mike? When will they investigate and prosecute Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George Bush, and look into what took place with George Bush's father, a very nice man, and the warehouse of documents? And what about Barack Hussein Obama? Are they under potential prosecution? I don't think so. I don't think they are. A Chinese restaurant and a bowling alley.
And here Trump inspires, he talks about Hillary Clinton. He's obsessed still to this day with Hillary Clinton. And here's a portion where he inspires the crowd and cheers them on as they do a lock up Hillary Clinton chant. Play this clip.
And paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton and the Democrat National Committee. And now it's admitted to have been fake. Then these same...
And by the way, I mean, you may forget, but this rally is supposed to be a campaign event for these MAGA extremist candidates, Adam Laxalt and Joe Lombardo, but it's all Donald Trump whining. And then he says, when Biden hears me speak, what all he thinks about is the only way he can try to get me is by sicking his prosecutors on me. Here, play this clip.
When Biden hears me speak, he knows he can't fight back in any other way than to try and get me through these prosecutors that were. That's the only way he can maybe get me. I don't think they can. First of all, we did nothing wrong. It helps when you've done nothing wrong after 6 years.
And then get this one. What Donald Trump is complaining about now is he's saying that the only reason that the feds may decide to prosecute Hunter Biden is so that they can then justify prosecuting Trump. So all of this right-wing stuff about go after Hunter Biden. Now Trump's saying, oh, the only reason they would ever want to do that is because they're trying to find some grounds to go after me. And so if they go after Hunter Biden first, they can go after me. What are these people talking about? Here, play this clip.
Leaking that they may actually be charging Hunter Biden with very minor charges relative to the crimes that he apparently committed. And look, we don't want bad stuff to happen, but they're leaking that couple of minor charges relatively compared to the kind of charges that they could be. And that's up to them. But are they actually going to do the right thing and hold the Bidens accountable, or is this just a charade and an excuse to continue targeting me and our movement of Make America Great Again and America First? I don't know. I think they're doing this for a little reason. I think they want to target us, and they make it look a little bit more fair when they throw out a couple of charges about Hunter. Now, you know what's happening. It's a disgrace what's happening in this country.
All right, so after whining about stealing top secret classified records and being the subject of a criminal investigation and talking about how we need to lock up all of our past presidents from both political parties in modern history, he then does a natural pivot to doing Putin's bidding, right? I mean, if you look at what's going on here structurally, you set up basically we need to attack and go after all of our former presidents from both political parties who don't pledge allegiance to the MAGA cult. Pivot. Now let's talk about Vladimir Putin. It is very intentionally done in the speech. Let's give praise to Putin. And now let's, after attacking our domestic situation, after attacking prior American leaders, now let me meddle with foreign affairs. And he says, what we need to do right now is to have Ukraine enter into a settlement agreement with Putin. Everything there needs to be resolved and settled. That is what Putin is trying to do to keep the land that he unlawfully invaded and annexed, which he is getting pushed back on and getting defeated and destroyed right now in Ukraine in humiliating fashion. Here's Trump trying to come to Putin's aid. Play this clip.
In Ukraine, with potentially hundreds of thousands of people dying, we must demand the immediate negotiation of a peaceful end to the war in Ukraine, or we will end up in World War III, and there will be nothing left of our planet, all because stupid people didn't have a clue. They didn't have a clue. They really don't understand I rebuilt our military. I rebuilt our nuclear power. They don't understand what they're dealing with, the power of nuclear. They have no idea what they're doing. I withdrew from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal.
So then Donald Trump mocks California, and his basis for mocking California is because Gavin Newsom, to make sure that our energy grid remained intact during an unprecedented, once-in-a-generation heat wave that we recently had in California. He asked people, hey, can you please conserve energy? And one of the ways you can do that is by recommending, or he recommended that ACs be turned off during certain times of the day. And fortunately, we managed to keep our power grid intact, unlike MAGA Republican states where they did not follow common sense guidance. The governors just abdicated their roles. And then you have massive systemic failures in the power grid like what we saw in Texas. But here's Trump trying to mock California for making the right leadership decision here.
Don't have electricity to turn on an air conditioner now in California. They write a letter, please don't use your air conditioning. And then
because in MAGA world, what you do is if you cover your eyes to problems and you spread disinformation and then lie to people that it's not actually a problem, that's how you address issues, right? COVID's never going to come to our shores. Oh, just inject bleach. Oh, let me give you all of the incorrect remedies and remedies that will actually harm you. They're not remedies at all for human beings. And let's lock up the chief scientists. That is their views about how you deal with crises. Oh, let's just yell at the media, pretend this isn't real, as hundreds and thousands and millions of people die. Our leadership is just pretend what's happening isn't happening and then just blame other people for it. And let's also come up with xenophobic tropes to blame other countries and other people and turn it into a racist thing as well. That's how you handle leadership if you're a MAGA. So then Donald Trump, as part of the big lie, he talks about 2 years ago when he was the president, everything was good and now everything is falling apart. This is kind of how he tends to segue towards the end of his speeches. He starts to talk about how horrible the country is and how everyone must need him, that he's the only person who can fix it, right? That is the dictator tactic 101. Everything's gone to crap. I'm the only person who can fix it. How great were things under me? Spread the big lie. Really? Things were great in 2020? You literally handled COVID the worst possible way ever. And frankly, before COVID, you were handling everything horribly. And President Biden has the lowest unemployment in the history of the United States. President Biden has made our economy stronger than ever. If you just look at the stats right here, and all you've tried to do is denigrate and destroy our country in each and every turn. But here's Donald Trump saying 2 years ago, everything was good and now things are falling apart. Play this clip.
2 years ago, think of it, 2 years ago, everything was so good in our country, and now it's going to pieces. It's falling apart.
And then he refers to, I suppose, everyone other than the MAGA extremists who spread election disinformation as cheating dogs. He goes, they are cheating dogs. Think about the language that he's using and what he's trying to inspire right there. Play this clip.
Second, but far better than voting by mail-in ballot. Far better. If you have no choice, do it. But go to the booth, go on election day and vote in person on election day. It makes it much harder for them to cheat. These are cheaters. They're cheating dogs, and it makes them much harder. This is a much harder process for them to cheat. I think we can.
Here, Donald Trump talks about how he believed, because crowd size is vital and critical to him. He goes, you don't want to know the biggest crowd ever? The biggest crowd ever, January 6th. Here, play this clip of him complimenting the crowd size on a date that should and does live in infamy as one of the most disgraceful days of our country's history. Play the clip.
I never knew the cameras, because this took place right from, they never want to show how massive our crowd was. You know the biggest crowd I've ever seen? January 6th. And you never hear that. It was the biggest, and they were there largely to protest a corrupt and rigged and stolen election. It's the biggest crowd, and you never hear that. And you see
And so by now, you probably forgot, as did the crowd, that the whole purpose of this event was supposed to be for the MAGA extremist candidates. And so you have the MAGA extremist governor candidate of Nevada, Joe Lombardo, take the stage for like a brief minute or two. And then he asks Trump, "Can I stay on stage? Can I stay on stage?" And Trump's like, "No, get off the stage. No, you can't be on there. No, we don't need you on stage anymore. Here, play the clip there."
Oh, you go ahead down. Thanks. Thanks, Joe.
And then the rally concludes, and the rally concludes with Trump playing the QAnon theme song for Where We Go One, We Go All, which is the theme of the QAnon cult. And by the way, the central tenet belief of the QAnon cult that Trump continues to inspire intentionally, continues to play their theme songs, continues to repost on social media things about them. Their view is that Donald Trump will rise to power as an emperor king and have public executions of anyone who supports democracy while music like this plays in the background. That is one of the tenets of QAnon. So I want you to think about it as you listen to this music, that their ideology is ultimately a violent overthrow of democracy with public executions taking place. That is one of their sick and deranged views. Play this clip.
So if I could, you know what I'm talking about, everybody? So we played it with music for the last month, and it's beautiful, and you can hear a pin drop. But some people wrote that they like it better without the music, and some people like it better with. So could I ask you the question, right? Who likes it better with the music? You know what the next question is, right? Who likes it better without the music? Wow, look at that. Wait a minute, wait. Wait, let me try that again. That's amazing. Who likes it better with the music? Who likes it better without the music? There's one guy back there that likes it better. Look at him. Look at that guy, how big and strong. I'm not going to mess with him.
We want Trump! 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 We want Trump!
Thank you. All right, backstage, when it's time, we're going to do that music tonight, all right? We'll do it. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, and where the stock market finished the worst first half of the year since 1872. Likewise, we are a nation that has the highest energy costs in its history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, as we were just 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and Saudi Arabia, many others also, for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other nation in the world.
And so you notice with the clip at the end there, as that QAnon theme song plays, That's when Trump talks about how horrible the country is and how America is not a great place, and just continues to demoralize, inspire fear, inspire hate, and spread these lies as that QAnon music plays. That is what we're dealing with here, folks. These are not normal times. This is not the case where you have two political parties engaged in legitimate political discourse. You have a very dangerous anti-democracy, pro-fascist cult that's out there. I wish the media could expose that the way we're doing it here. Fortunately, our position right now is bigger than most mainstream media right now. And fortunately, we can get out the word like this. But I wish others would look at that, call it out. And I don't view for a second that playing that and calling it out is giving it life or give. I think the problem is where we close our eyes to that reality and people don't know, and people believe, oh, it's just the Democrats and the Republicans. I'll just give this political party a shot. This political party controls the White House, so I'll just vote for this other political party. And let's just have checks and balances in a way that traditionally happens when one political party controls the White House. That is not what we are dealing with, folks. That's why we've done lots of videos here on the MeidasTouch Network, too, of former Republicans, of independents who have a mass exodus from the MAGA Republican Party and said, you know what, whatever the hell that was, that's not me. That's not conservative. That's not what I've ever viewed a Republican to be. And I appreciate, frankly, that realization. I think the courage there and the just saying enough is enough is enough. We need a pro-democracy coalition that can call that out, what you just saw. That can never lead the United States of America. The threats that causes on us is so existential. But I'm confident that together, if we call that out, if we don't let down our guard, we can stop and prevent that MAGA extremism from coming into power. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hey, hit the subscribe button right now. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. In addition, one of the ways you can help support independent media like this is by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's a number of different membership tiers there, with exclusive benefits from becoming a producer of the MeidasTouch podcast, getting behind the scenes footage and more. Check it out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.